YouTube, this is Little Fat Tony, and I'm doing a little video on what packs to buy. What is my opinion of what you should buy, and which one you shouldn't really invest too heavily in. Personally, I would, if you're starting the game off now, I would go for Ultimate Rising or Age of Discovery. Age of Discovery has, in my opinion, 2 or 3 really good cards that I would recommend trying to get. First one is Michizuru, which is really great, especially when they get rid of one of your little monsters, and then you just pop one of their big beaters or big monsters, the problem on the field. So it gets rid of it, no problem. Next would be Yomi's Ship. That card is very annoying. You just swing into a face-down monster, and boom, it's hit the ship, and then you lose another monster. Again, it's always being good to trade off, especially when you're being on the defensive. What other good cards? Another one is the Reliable Guardian. It's going to be useful later on in farming videos, especially for Ishizu with the Gravekeeper deck, because she has the one Gravekeeper that could switch you into defense, so that way you can actually make it so your defense is higher than what she can get over. So it's really handy. Arsenal Summoner. I see a lot of people using this card. It's a good 16/16 beater as well. Me personally, I've never been a fan of it, but it's also pretty reliable and kind of handy at times as well. Next is High Tide Gyojin. He's a 1650 vanilla beater. Again, handy to use and have. And finally, Cost Down. This could be very handy later on, especially lowering the cost of a monster. And as the game goes on, cards that activate in the graveyard effect. I heard Dark Necrofear will be coming out soon, so that's a very handy card to have, especially for this, because you can set it up faster and get it ready. And I'm a fan of this card. I feel like this card later on in the game is going to be very handy and useful. Gear Panda, very useful card. It has piercing, gains 500 attack power for each monster on your opponent's side of the field. We'll see though. That card is a gamble card if you really want to know. Now the Ultimate Rising. I love this set. This set is very handy. This is my second box going through. I go through a lot of it. See, these are cards I've even gotten. Only one I haven't gotten is Magic Jammer yet. Even all the rest, I've gotten everything else in the set. This set, almost everything is useful. Only cards that I really don't see that is useful is probably Magical Hats. Other than that, it's amazing set. I highly invest into this set, especially before it leaves, because it'll be leaving very soon. I believe it leaves at the end of this month. Next, I would go with Neil Impact. Again, this set has a lot of staples. As you can see, cards that I would highly try to recommend shooting for is Mirror Wall. Very good card. Makes attacks go south really fast for people. Half Shut. Halves the monsters attacking, they can't be destroyed. It can help out later on. Jerry Bean, a 1750 beater. Very handy as well. Senju of 1,000 Hands, because he can get a ritual monster for Relinquish or whatever ritual monsters come out later on in the game. Kaiser Seahorse, staple for Mako decks. It's a 17 Sea Serpent, so you can, with Yumi, 1900. Paladin of White Dragon, helps you get out of Blue Eyes White Dragon. I mean, I've used this card multiple times against friends in ranked duels where I just drop Blue Eyes and then go, hey, come at me, bro. Gravity X Garl. This card is really handy as well. They can't change battle position, so If they're stuck in defense position, that's how it's going to stay for a while. Especially if they use the trap card from Mai. I can't think of what its name is at the moment. I'll do a video on that later. Oops, double backed out that. And the last card. Oh, that was in the other set. That was, yeah, that was in Ultimate Rising. Again, this set is very useful as well. Going back to Ultimate Rising, since I really didn't talk about the cards in this video, or this earlier. Sphere Karibo. This is the card you want to go for. This card is amazing. It switches your opponent's monster to defense when they're attacking you, giving you more time to stall. And then when it's in your discard pile, you can use it as a ritual summon. So you can use this to get relinquished out just when it's in your discard pile, which is really handy. Sonic Bird to help you search for that ritual monster card. I like this card, Magical Arm Shield, because if your opponent's swinging into your monster and they have another monster with the same attack power, just make them kill 2 monsters for the price of 1, which is really handy and puts you ahead very much. Being ahead in this game is very important. Shard of Greed. I don't like it for PvP, but for farming and normal duels, this card is amazing. It will help you so much. Magical Beast Cerberus decks do great, even better with this card. Gets everything done as quickly as possible. Wonder Balloons. Again, with farming and PvP, actually, this card too. Always putting them on the clock and putting pressure on them is very important. Twister is another great card. It helps destroy face-up spell or trap cards. So it can help destroy that mirror wall if they keep it for a turn or they activate it early. They jump the gun and like, oh, you're tagging, I'll activate mirror wall. Well, since it's not during damage step, you could Twister it away. You could twist away their field spell. Jurassic World is a really important deck right now. It's a meta deck because of Rex Raptor. Again, mentioning Rex Raptor, Order the Charge, since he uses a lot of normal monsters. This card helps you by getting rid of your normal monster and then killing one of their monsters as well, which is very handy. Mask of the Cursed. Very good stall card. Again, like I said, putting your opponent on the clock is very important because that monster, you attach this to their monster and now that they can't attack and they lose 500 life points every turn. Every standby phase of your turn, that is. Other cards that I really like, Enchanted Javelin. This is a basic common card, very good. When they attack into you, you get the life points that the monster attacked with, which is pretty handy, especially if you're behind a little bit. And for farming, Hidden Spellbook, very good card. Shuffle 2 spells cards back into your deck, so it helps you farm with Cerberus. I'll show you a little combo with Shard of Greed and Hidden Spellbook as well, as that video comes out for Joey Wheeler. Next is Flame of the Tyrant. Now, this is one of the sets I'm not too huge on. There's some decent cards. Rigorous Reaver is a pretty good card. When he flips, each player discards a card from their hand, which helps. And the monster that destroys this loses 500, which is pretty good. It's a 1600 beater. Sergeant Electro, he locks out one of your opponent's face down cards for the turn or continuously until you choose another card. Again, very handy card, especially if they're back row heavy. Emissary of the Afterlife. Right now, I don't feel like this card is good, but JP version is getting Exodia pieces for Yugioh. So give it some time, and this card will be really good to get Exodia into your hand no time flat. Worm, help you mill your opponent out. Having 3 of these, along with a trap card called, again, in Ultimate Rising. I believe it's an Ultimate Rising. Oh no, it's not. It's in Neil Impact. Regretful Rebirth. So you get Warm Worm, and then you make your opponent mill 3 cards. Then you bring it back, and at the end of the turn, it destroys it again and makes them mill another 3 cards. So you make them lose 6 cards right away, which is really handy for that little mill deck that people have been trying to do. It's a really fun deck to watch and play against. Golden Apple. This card is annoying. This card is so good and handy, though. Probably the best card in this set. So when you battle damage from monster you control, while you control no monsters, gain life points equal to the battle damage you took. So basically, as long as you don't die from that attack, you gain all the life points back, and then you get a monster equal to the amount of that attack and defense that you took. So if I hit you with a 28 beater, you gain 28,000 life points back, and you get a 28 monster, which is really great for you. And the last but not least is Warrior Die Griffer. Great 1700 beater. Valkyrie's Rage. I haven't really looked into the set that much. It really didn't pique my interest. I didn't see a lot of good cards that I liked. I mean, I like the Sura Priest. That's a really great card. It was a great card in the card game formats. I believe it was Goat, where it just killed all the goats. Dark Witch, she's an 1800 beater. Soul Exchange. This is going to be a really good card. Just using your opponent's monster as a tribute is always very handy. Divine Wrath to cancel out monster effects. Relinquish is running around right now, so you can Divine Wrath it and get rid of that problem right away. It's very good. Nobleman of Extermination. It's a way to get rid of face down trap cards or spell cards, but it can hurt you in the long run too. I like it. Some people don't, but I would highly recommend getting it. Burning Land for those mill decks. It helps. It also destroys field spells, and it's continuous. So every standby phase, the turn player takes 500 life points. So putting them on that pressure clock is really good. Adhesive Trap Hole. So after they summon a big monster, you just cut their monsters in half, and it's permanent. So that's extremely handy. Always save that for like a big monster when they come out. Xing Zhan Hu. You can lock them out of their back row, which is very handy again because back row is very important in this game. You don't just run 20 monsters in this deck. In decks, you run a mixture of spells, traps, and everything. So locking them out of the 2 card zones, especially when it's face down, very handy. Creeping Darkness. With this, I'm curious. It could be really good. Again, going back to the new Yugi deck that's coming out where he gets all 5 pieces of Exodia in the deck. It could be really good in case somehow you lose the head. You could just add it back to your hand, but you gotta make sure you have multiple dark monsters in there. And Wild Tornado is the last card I would highly recommend. Again, going back to Twister, it's like that. Only downside is if they have a card that they could set in their hand, they set it. But otherwise, it's still a really handy card. I like Twister too. I like Twister a little bit more. Pumpkin Princess is another honorable mention. She helps gets everything done. And when she's destroyed, she can lower your opponent's attack power by 100 every standby phase. So it can make things really hard for your opponent to do. Wrecker Panda. I don't know how I feel about this card. I've seen people trying to play decks where they just play all big monsters and this, and then they just keep paying life points, and then it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. But again, this is like a double-edged sword. It can turn out going really bad for you as well. But I wanted to give it an honorable mention. And believe that's all the honorable mentions I'll be giving for the moment. Stay tuned for my Joey Wheeler video on how to farm him and how to use a free-to-play doc to get him out as well. Thanks, YouTube. Have a good day.